Welcome to the Bible quiz on the incredible life of Abraham. Did you know Abraham is often called the father of faith? His life of obedience and faith has so much to teach us. Do you know how old Abraham was when God first called him to leave his homeland? Think you've got the answer? Drop it in the comments below. This quiz is packed with 70 engaging questions that will test your knowledge, challenge your memory, and deepen your understanding of the life of Abraham. Please don't forget to subscribe to help the channel, share this video to spread the word, and comment below. We love hearing from you. Let's see how much you know about the life of Abraham. Question 1. What was Abraham's original name before God changed it? Was it A. Abram, B. Abinadab, C. Abner, or D. Abimelech? You have 10 seconds. The answer is A. Abram, from Genesis 17 verse 5. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. Before God's covenant with him, Abram meant exalted father, but God changed it to Abraham, meaning father of many nations, signifying the promise that his descendants would be numerous. Question 2. Which city did Abraham leave when God called him? Was it A. Haran, B. Ur of the Chaldees, C. Bethel, or D. Egypt? Think fast. 10 seconds. The answer is B. Ur of the Chaldees, from Genesis 11:31. And Terah took Abram his son, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees. God called Abram from this city in Mesopotamia, directing him to an unknown land as part of his promise to make Abram a great nation. Question 3. Who was Abraham's father? Was it A. Terah, B. Nahor, C. Haran, or D. Peleg? You've got 10 seconds to decide. The answer is A. Terah, from Genesis 11:26. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Terah's move from Ur to Haran set the stage for God's call to Abram to begin his journey of faith. Question 4. What was the name of Abraham's wife? Was it A. Rebekah, B. Leah, C. Sarah, or D. Rachel? You have 10 seconds. The answer is C. Sarah, from Genesis 11:29. And Abram's wife was Sarai. God later changed her name to Sarah, promising that she would bear Isaac in her old age, fulfilling his covenant with Abraham. Question 5. Which land did God promise to give Abraham and his descendants? Was it A. Egypt, B. Canaan, C. Babylon, or D. Persia? Time is ticking. 10 seconds. The answer is B. Canaan, from Genesis 12:7. Unto thy seed will I give this land. This promise of the land of Canaan is foundational to the Abrahamic covenant and connects Israel's history to the land they would later possess. Question 6. Who was Abraham's nephew who traveled with him? Was it A. Nahor, B. Lot, C. Haran, or D. Eliezer? 10 seconds on the clock. The answer is B. Lot, from Genesis 12:4. And Lot went with him. Lot, Abraham's nephew, accompanied him on his journey and became a significant figure in the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Question 7. What did God promise Abraham in the covenant? Was it A. Wealth and fame, B. A land, descendants and blessings, C. A kingdom, or D. Eternal life? You have 10 seconds. The answer is B. A land, descendants, and blessings, from Genesis 12:2. And I will make of thee a great nation. God's covenant with Abraham guaranteed him land, countless descendants, and blessings for all nations. Question 8. How old was Abraham when he left Haran to follow God's call? Was it A, 25, B, 50, C, 75, or D, 100? Your 10 seconds start now. The answer is C, 75, from Genesis 12 verse 4. And Abram was 70 and 5 years old when he departed out of Haran. Despite his age, Abraham followed God's command with faith, demonstrating his unwavering trust. Question 9. What was the name of the son Abraham had with Hagar? Was it A, Isaac, B, Esau, C, Ishmael, or D, Jacob? Time is ticking. 10 seconds. The answer is C, Ishmael, from Genesis 16 verse 15. And Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name Ishmael. Ishmael became the father of a great nation, but Isaac was the child of the covenant. Question 10. At what age did God promise Abraham that Sarah would bear a son? Was it A, 90, B, 75, C, 100, or D, 80? You have 10 seconds. The answer is C, 100, from Genesis 21 verse 5. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born. Isaac's birth was miraculous, demonstrating God's power to fulfill his promises, no matter the obstacles. Question 11. What was the name of the promised son born to Abraham and Sarah? Was it A, Esau, Isaac, C, Jacob, or D, Ishmael? You have 10 seconds. The answer is B, Isaac, from Genesis 21:2. And Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age. Isaac's birth fulfilled God's promise to Abraham, and his name means laughter, reflecting Sarah's reaction to the news. Question 12. What did Abraham do when God commanded him to sacrifice Isaac? Was it A, fled, B, obeyed, C, argued with God, or D, offered a lamb instead? You've got 10 seconds. The answer is B, obeyed, from Genesis 22:9. And Abraham built an altar and bound Isaac his son. Abraham's obedience showed his faith in God's provision, and God stopped him, providing a ram instead. Question 13. Who appeared to Abraham to prevent him from sacrificing Isaac? Was it A, an angel of the Lord, B, Melchizedek, C, a prophet, or D, a voice from heaven? 10 seconds. The answer is A, an angel of the Lord, from Genesis 22:11. The angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven. This moment solidified God's covenant with Abraham, proving Abraham's faith. Question 14. What was the mountain where Abraham was to sacrifice Isaac? Was it A, Mount Sinai, B, Mount Moriah, C, Mount Zion, or D, Mount Carmel? Your 10 seconds start now. The answer is B, Mount Moriah, from Genesis 22 verse 2. And get thee into the land of Moriah. Mount Moriah is also significant in biblical history as the future site of Solomon's temple. Question 15. What did Abraham name the place where he was to sacrifice Isaac? Was it A, Jehovah Nissi, B, Jehovah Jireh, C, Bethel, or D, Gilgal? You have 10 seconds. The answer is B. Jehovah-Jireh, from Genesis 22:14. And Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah-Jireh. This name means the Lord will provide, reflecting Abraham's faith that God would supply what was needed. Question 16. Who was the king and priest that blessed Abraham? Was it A. Pharaoh, B. Melchizedek, C. Abimelech, or D. Nebuchadnezzar? 10 seconds go. The answer is B. Melchizedek, from Genesis 14:18. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, blessed him. Melchizedek is a key figure foreshadowing the priesthood of Christ. Question 17. What did Abraham give Melchizedek? Was it A. a lamb, B. a tenth of the spoils, C. a portion of his land, or D. a burnt offering? You've got 10 seconds. The answer is B. a tenth of the spoils, from Genesis 14:20. And he gave him tithes of all. This act of giving a tithe symbolizes Abraham's recognition of Melchizedek's authority and God's provision. Question 18. What was the sign of the covenant between God and Abraham? Was it A. a rainbow, B. circumcision, C. an altar, or D. a burning bush? Time is ticking. 10 seconds. The answer is B. circumcision, from Genesis 17 verse 10. Every man-child among you shall be circumcised. This physical sign marked the covenant between God and Abraham's descendants. Question 19. What was the relationship between Sarah and Abraham before they were married? Was it A. they were cousins, B. they were brother and sister, C. they were neighbors, or D. they were friends? You have 10 seconds. The answer is B. They were brother and sister, from Genesis 20 verse 12. And yet indeed she is my sister. Sarah was Abraham's half-sister, sharing the same father but a different mother. Question 20. Which king took Sarah into his house, thinking she was Abraham's sister? Was it A. Pharaoh, B. Abimelech, C. Melchizedek, or D. Ahasuerus? 10 seconds on the clock. The answer is B. Abimelech, from Genesis 22. And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. God intervened and warned Abimelech in a dream, preventing him from sinning against Sarah. Question 21. How did Abraham respond when Lot was captured during a battle? Was it A. he ignored it, B. he prayed, C. he went to rescue him, or D. he asked Melchizedek for help? You've got 10 seconds. The answer is C. He went to rescue him, from Genesis 14:14. And Abram armed his trained servants and pursued them. Abraham's immediate response demonstrated his loyalty and courage. Question 22. What did Abraham tell Sarah to say about their relationship when they went to Egypt? Was it A. she was his mother, B. she was his sister, C. she was his cousin, or D. she was his servant? You have 10 seconds. The answer is B. She was his sister, from Genesis 12:13. Say thou art my sister. Abraham asked Sarah to say this out of fear for his life, but God protected them. Question 23. Who appeared to Abraham to announce Sarah would have a son? Was it A, an angel of the Lord, B, 3 men, C, a prophet, or D, a voice from heaven? You have 10 seconds. The answer is B, 3 men from Genesis 18 verse 2. And lo, 3 men stood by him. One of the 3 is often understood to be the Lord, delivering the message of Isaac's birth. Question 24. How did Sarah react when she heard she would have a son in her old age? Was it A, she laughed, B, she cried, C, she prayed, or D, she rejoiced? Time is ticking. 10 seconds. The answer is A, she laughed, from Genesis 18:12. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself. Her laughter expressed disbelief, but God reassured her that nothing is too difficult for him. Question 25. What did Abraham plead with God about concerning Sodom? Was it A, that God spare Lot, B, that God spare the city if there were righteous people in it, C, that God rain fire on Sodom, or D, that God spare Sarah? You have 10 seconds. The answer is B, that God spare the city if there were righteous people in it, from Genesis 18 verse 24. Peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city. Abraham's intercession shows his compassion and concern for the righteous. Question 26. What happened to Lot's wife when she looked back at Sodom? Was it A, she fell down, B, she was turned into a pillar of salt, C, she was struck by lightning, or D, she was spared? You've got 10 seconds. The answer is B. She was turned into a pillar of salt, from Genesis 19:26. But his wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. Her fate serves as a warning about disobedience. Question 27. Which 2 cities were destroyed by fire and brimstone in Abraham's time? Was it A, Sodom and Gomorrah, B, Jericho and Ai, C, Bethel and Ai, or D, Nineveh and Babylon? Time is ticking. 10 seconds. The answer is A, Sodom and Gomorrah, from Genesis 19:24. The Lord rained brimstone and fire upon Sodom and Gomorrah. These cities were destroyed because of their wickedness, though Lot was spared. Question 28. Who was the servant Abraham sent to find a wife for Isaac? Was it A, Eliezer, B, C, Abimelech, or D, Lot? You have 10 seconds. The answer is A, Eliezer, from Genesis 24:2. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant, Go to my country and to my kindred. Eliezer's mission was successful in finding Rebekah for Isaac. Question 29. Who was chosen to be Isaac's wife? Was it A, Rachel, B, Rebekah, C, Leah, or D, Sarah? 10 seconds, let's go. The answer is B, Rebekah, from Genesis 24:67. And Isaac took Rebekah, and she became his wife. Rebekah's kindness at the well was a sign that she was the right choice for Isaac. Question 30. Where was Abraham buried? Was it A, in Egypt, B, in Bethel, C, in the cave of Machpelah, or D, in Haran? Your 10 seconds start now. The answer is C. In the cave of Machpelah, from Genesis 25:9. And his sons buried him in the cave of Machpelah. This cave became the family's burial site, linking them to the promised land. Question 31. How old was Abraham when he died? Was it A 20, B 150, C 75, or D 200? You've got 10 seconds. The answer is C, 175 from Genesis 25:7. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life which he lived, 163 years. Abraham lived a full life, and his long years showed God's faithfulness in fulfilling many promises during his lifetime. Question 32. Who were the two sons of Abraham? Was it A, Isaac and Jacob, B, Ishmael and Isaac, C, Esau and Ishmael, or D, Isaac and Joseph? You have 10 seconds. The answer is B, Ishmael and Isaac, from Genesis 21:3. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. Isaac was the child of promise, while Ishmael, born to Hagar, also received God's blessings. Question 33. Who did Abraham take as a wife after Sarah died? Was it A, Hagar, B, Rebekah, C, Keturah, or D, Leah? 10 seconds on the clock. The answer is C, Keturah, from Genesis 25:1. Then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. Keturah bore him several children, although they were not part of the covenant line through Isaac. Question 34. How did God describe Abraham in the New Testament? Was it A, as a great king, B, as a man of great wealth, C, as the father of faith, or D, as a warrior? 10 seconds to decide. The answer is C, as the father of faith, from Galatians 3:6. Even as Abraham believed God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness. Abraham's unwavering faith is the reason he is considered the father of faith. Question 35. Why did Abraham send Hagar and Ishmael away? Was it A, to protect them from danger, B, because Sarah requested it, C, because he did not want many children, or D, to establish a new household? You have 10 seconds. The answer is B, because Sarah requested it, from Genesis 21:10. Cast out this bondwoman and her son. Though difficult for him, God told him to listen to Sarah, and that in Isaac shall his seed be called. Question 36. Who appeared to Hagar when she was sent away with Ishmael? Was it A, Abraham, B, an angel of God, C, Isaac, or D, Abimelech? 10 seconds to choose. The answer is B, an angel of God, from Genesis 21:17. And the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven. God heard Ishmael's cries and provided for them in the wilderness, assuring them of his care. Question 37. How did Abraham show his faith when God told him to sacrifice Isaac? Was it A, he waited for a sign, B, he questioned God, C, he obeyed immediately, or D, he refused? You've got 10 seconds. The answer is C. He obeyed immediately, from Genesis 22:3. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took Isaac his son. Abraham's prompt obedience demonstrated his complete trust in God's plan. Question 38. What did Abraham offer as a sacrifice in place of Isaac? Was it A lamb, B a ram, C a dove, or D a bull? Time is ticking. 10 seconds. The answer is B, a ram from Genesis 22 verse 13. Behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. This act symbolized God's provision and foreshadowed the ultimate sacrifice of Christ. Question 39. What was the land that God promised to Abraham and his descendants? Was it A, Egypt, B, Canaan, C, Babylon, or D, Moab? You've got 10 seconds. The answer is B, Canaan, from Genesis 15 verse 18. Unto thy seed have I given this land. The land of Canaan was the key part of God's covenant with Abraham. Question 40. What did God promise Abraham concerning his descendants? Was it A, they would be like the stars of heaven, B, they would become kings, C, they would be priests, or D, they would be rulers over Egypt? You have 10 seconds. The answer is A, they would be like the stars of heaven from Genesis 15:5. So shall thy seed be. This promise emphasized the vastness of Abraham's descendants, both physical and spiritual. Question 41. How did God describe himself to Abraham? Was it A, as a great king, B, as a shield, C, as a warrior, or D, as a shepherd? You have 10 seconds. The answer is B, as a shield, from Genesis 15:1. Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. God's protection over Abraham and his descendants was a key part of their relationship. Question 42. Why did Abraham and Lot separate? Was it A, their herdsmen quarreled over grazing land, B, Lot wanted to move to Sodom, C, Abraham wanted to live alone, or D, they had disagreement over religion? Time is ticking. The answer is A. Their herdsmen quarreled over grazing land, from Genesis 13:7. Abraham and Lot had accumulated so much wealth in the form of livestock and possessions, and their herdsmen began to quarrel. To prevent strife between their herdsmen, Abraham proposed that they separate, allowing Lot to choose where he wanted to settle first. Question 43. What did Lot choose when Abraham offered him a choice of land? Was it A, the land of Canaan, B, the plain of Jordan, C, the hill country, or D, the desert? You've got 10 seconds. The answer is B, the plain of Jordan from Genesis 13:11. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan. This decision led Lot closer to Sodom and Gomorrah, foreshadowing trouble. Question 44. How did Abraham respond when God promised him a son? Was it A, he doubted, B, he laughed, C, he rejoiced, or D, he wept? You have 10 seconds. The answer is B, he laughed from Genesis 17 verse 17. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed. Abraham laughed in amazement, considering his and Sarah's advanced age, but his faith remained strong. Question 45. Who was Abraham's firstborn son? Was it A, Isaac, Ishmael, C, Esau, or D, Jacob? 10 seconds to choose. The answer is B, Ishmael, from Genesis 16:15. And Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name Ishmael. Though Ishmael was not the child of promise, he still received blessings from God. Question 46. Why did Abraham give Lot the first choice of land? Was it A, to avoid conflict, B, to test him, C, to humble himself, or D, to fulfill God's promise? 10 seconds on the clock. The answer is A, to avoid conflict from Genesis 13:8. Let there be no strife, I pray thee. Abraham's generous act of letting Lot choose first demonstrated his peaceful and humble character. Question 47. What did God tell Abraham about his descendants' future in a foreign land? Was it A, they would be blessed, B, they would be enslaved and oppressed, C, they would prosper, or D, they would conquer the land? Time is ticking. The answer is B. They would be enslaved and oppressed from Genesis 15:13. Thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them. This prophecy was fulfilled when the Israelites became slaves in Egypt. Question 48. What was Abraham's relationship to Sarah? Was it A, his sister, B, his wife, C, both A and B, or D, none of the above? You have 10 seconds. The answer is C, both A and B, from Genesis 20:12. She is my sister, she is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. This relationship became significant when Abraham used it to protect himself in foreign lands. Question 49. Which nation did God promise would come from Ishmael? Was it Egypt, B, Edom, C, a great nation, or D, Israel? You've got 10 seconds. The answer is C, a great nation, from Genesis 21:13. Of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. Ishmael's descendants are traditionally considered the ancestors of the Arab people. Question 50. How did God test Abraham's faith? Was it A, by asking him to leave his homeland, B, by asking him to sacrifice Isaac, C, by giving him wealth, or D, by giving him many descendants? 10 seconds. The answer is B. By asking him to sacrifice Isaac from Genesis 22:2. Take now thy son, thine only son whom thou lovest. Abraham's willingness to obey this command showed his complete trust in God's promises. Question 51. What did God promise Abraham regarding Sarah? Was it A, she would live a long life, B, she would bear a son, C, she would be blessed with many descendants, or D, she would have a daughter? You have 10 seconds. The answer is B. She would bear a son from Genesis 17:15-16. I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. This promise was fulfilled with the birth of Isaac, demonstrating God's power. Question 52. How did Abraham intercede for Sodom and Gomorrah? Was it A, he built an altar, B, he prayed for them, C, he negotiated with God for their salvation, or D, he offered a sacrifice? 10 seconds. The answer is C. He negotiated with God for their salvation, from Genesis 18:23. Wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Abraham's concern for the righteous in the city showed his compassionate heart. Question 53. What did Abraham give to Abimelech after making a covenant with him? Was it A, livestock, B, silver, C, 7 ewe lambs, or D, gold? You've got 10 seconds. The answer is C, 7 ewe lambs from Genesis 21, 27, 28. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. This act solidified the covenant between them and affirmed Abraham's rights to the well at Beersheba. Question 54. How did God reaffirm his covenant with Abraham after the near sacrifice of Isaac? Was it A, by sending an angel, B, by giving Abraham wealth, C, by promising to multiply his descendants, or D, by delivering Lot? You have 10 seconds. The answer is C, by promising to multiply his descendants from Genesis 22:17. I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven. This reaffirmation of the covenant emphasized the reward for Abraham's faithfulness. Question 55. What did Abraham build when God first appeared to him in Canaan? Was it A, a house, B, a well, C, an altar, or D, a tower? 10 seconds to choose. The answer is C, an altar, from Genesis 12 verse 7. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord. Abraham's practice of building altars signified his devotion and worship of God wherever he went. Question 56. Who was the king of Salem who blessed Abraham? Was it A, Abimelech, B, Pharaoh, C, Melchizedek, or D, Nebuchadnezzar? You've got 10 seconds. The answer is C, Melchizedek, from Genesis 14 verse 18 to 19. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine. This encounter foreshadows Jesus Christ as both priest and king. Question 57. How many years did Abraham and Sarah wait for Isaac after God's promise? Was it A, 15 years, B, 10 years, C, 25 years, or D, 5 years? Time is ticking. 10 seconds. The answer is C, 25 years from Genesis 21 verse 5. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born. Abraham and Sarah waited patiently, showing that God's promises are fulfilled in his perfect timing. Question 58. Where did Abraham send his servant to find a wife for Isaac? Was it A, Egypt, B, Haran, C, Canaan, or D, Babylon? 10 seconds to decide. The answer is B, Haran, from Genesis 24:4. Go unto my country and to my kindred. Abraham sent his servant to find a wife among his relatives, ensuring that Isaac's line would stay within the family. Question 59. What was the test that Abraham's servant set for finding Isaac's wife? Was it A, that she would offer him water, B, that she would give water to his camels, C, that she would be beautiful, or D, that she would be kind to him? You have 10 seconds. The answer is B, that she would give water to his camels, from Genesis 24:14. She shall say, drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. This sign demonstrated Rebekah's kindness and hospitality, making her the perfect wife for Isaac. Question 60. What did Abraham do after Sarah died? Was it A, he buried her in the cave of Machpelah, B, he married Keturah immediately, C, he built an altar, or D, he traveled to Egypt? 10 seconds on the clock. The answer is A. He buried her in the cave of Machpelah, from Genesis 23:19. Abraham buried Sarah in the cave of Machpelah. This burial site became the family's tomb, a testament to Abraham's belief in God's promise of the land. Question 61. What did God do to the men of Sodom when they tried to attack Lot's house? Was it A, he blinded them, B, he sent fire from heaven, C, he caused an earthquake, or D, he sent a flood? You have 10 seconds. The answer is A. He blinded them, from Genesis 19:11. They smote the men with blindness. This divine intervention protected Lot's family from harm as God prepared to destroy Sodom. Question 62. What did Lot offer the men of Sodom instead of the angels? Was it A, his livestock, B, his servants, C, his daughters, or D, his possessions? 10 seconds on the clock. The answer is C. His daughters, from Genesis 19:8. Let me bring out my daughters. Lot's shocking offer highlighted the extreme danger of the situation and the moral degradation of Sodom. Question 63. What did Abraham do when he learned that Lot was captured by invading kings? Was it A, he sent messengers for help, B, he prayed, C, he gathered his men and pursued the captors, or D, he negotiated for Lot's release? You have 10 seconds. The answer is C. He gathered his men and pursued the captors, from Genesis 14 verse 14. And Abram armed his trained servants and pursued them. Abraham's bravery in rescuing Lot showed his loyalty to his family. Question 64. What did Abraham do to show his hospitality to the 3 visitors at Mamre? Was it A, he invited them to a feast, B, he washed their feet and prepared food, C, he built them an altar, or D, he gave them gold and silver? 10 seconds to decide. The answer is B. He washed their feet and prepared food, from Genesis 18:8. He took butter and milk and the calf and set it before them. This hospitality demonstrated Abraham's respect and kindness towards strangers. Question 65. How did God describe his covenant with Abraham? Was it A as everlasting, B as temporary, C as conditional, or D as symbolic? You have 10 seconds. The answer is A, as everlasting, from Genesis 17:7. I will establish my covenant for an everlasting covenant. God's covenant with Abraham and his descendants would continue forever, showing the eternal nature of his promises. Question 66. What did Abraham ask God for when he promised him descendants? Was it A, a sign, B, a vision, C, an heir, or D, more wealth? Time is ticking. 10 seconds. The answer is C, an heir, from Genesis 15:2. Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? Abraham wanted a physical heir through whom God's promises would be fulfilled, and God assured him that he would have a son. Question 67. Where did Abraham go to live after separating from Lot? Was it A, Egypt, B, the plains of Mamre and Hebron, C, Sodom, or D, Bethel? You've got 10 seconds. The answer is B, the plains of Mamre and Hebron, from Genesis 13:18. Abram removed his tent and dwelt in the plain of Mamre. Abraham settled in Hebron and continued to worship God by building an altar. Question 68. How did God appear to Abraham in Genesis 15? Was it A, as a burning bush, B, as a whirlwind, C, as a vision, or D, as a pillar of fire? You have 10 seconds. The answer is C, as a vision, from Genesis 15 verse 1. The word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision. In this vision, God reassured Abraham of his promises and prepared him for the covenant ceremony. Question 69. Who was Abraham's oldest servant mentioned in connection with finding Isaac's wife? Was it A, Eliezer, B, Abimelech, C, Lot, or D, Nahor? Time is ticking. The answer is A, Eliezer, from Genesis 24, verse 2. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant, Put thy hand under my thigh. Eliezer's faithfulness in carrying out Abraham's instructions showed his trustworthiness and loyalty. Question 70. What did Abraham plant in Beersheba after making a covenant with Abimelech? Was it A, an olive tree, B, a vineyard, C, a grove, or D, a fig tree? You've got 10 seconds. The answer is C, a grove, from Genesis 21:33. Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba and called on the name of the Lord. This act symbolized peace and settlement, and Beersheba became a place of worship and prayer. We have come to the end of the quiz. Thanks for joining the Life of Abraham Bible quiz. We hope you enjoyed the quiz and learned something new about his faith and legacy. Before we go, here's a question to ponder. Do you know what promise God made to Abraham that has impacted generations? Share your answer in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on our future Bible quizzes. Remember to share this video with friends and family who would love to test their Bible knowledge, and leave a comment to let us know how you did. Thanks again, and we'll see you in our next video. Stay blessed.